Welcome to the
You made it so
2013 KVIE Art Auction, celebrating 32 years of visual arts in our region. More than 250 pieces will be auctioned off to the highest bidder, and you can be a part of the action by watching and bidding on your favorite pieces. View the entire collection online at kvie.org/art auction. Then, when your favorite item appears, call 1-800-270-6601 to place your bid. You can also interact live with the auction team on Twitter using hashtag KVIE Arts. Remember to bid high and bid often. And now, let the auction begin. Sold.
It's easy to bid on items featured in the art auction. Here's how. Explore the collection online at kvie.org/art auction. Make note of the date and time your favorite artwork comes up for bid, or stay tuned. When a piece of art catches your eye, quickly call 1-800-270-6601 and a volunteer will assist you. Most items will be sold in less than 7 minutes. Bid high and bid often so you don't miss any of your favorite items.
Stay tuned for the Still Life and Landscapes category coming up next on the KVIE Art Auction. Juried by David Post, this category features still life and non-California landscapes in all mediums. View all of the categories featured in this year's auction at kvie.org/art auction. Bid high and bid often.
Oh, and welcome to the KVIE Art Auction. I'm Jim Finnerty. Thank you for being with us this afternoon. This portion of KVIE's Art Auction is presented by Wells Fargo Bank. We want to thank Wells Fargo Bank for supporting public television and art, and of course, we appreciate your support. We're glad you're with us this afternoon. Let's do a quick review of all of the art that is up for auction in this next half hour. And we've got some great pieces, and we want you to call in. And joining us is our art expert, Ed Goldman. He'll be with us in just a moment. But let's take a look at the art that we're going to be taking a look at that you have an opportunity to buy for your home. We're going to start out with Crawling the Earth. This is a piece, a mixed media piece. It's 20 by 20. And it's a delightful piece, and I think this would be one of those pieces that we want to talk about because it has a little bit of mystery look about it. Then La Fresneda with Blue Light, and this is a large piece, 41.5 by 23 inches. This would be perfect perhaps in a business office setting. We're going to take a look at that. You'll like to see that one. This is one of those rich pieces. This is called Pearl Essence, and it's a small painting, oil on canvas, 17 by 19. We'll talk about that one in just a little bit. This is a very colorful piece, and this is called Stay by Emily Elders. This is a relief print, 18 by 14, and the bid on this is, the retail on that is $250. Then we will have this piece. This is kind of a mysterious, dark piece that I want to hear more about. This is called David Brubeck, and this is photography, 26 by 16, and we'll talk about that piece that's at the bottom of the piece as well. Do you love the color on this one? The minute we saw this and moved this into the studio, it is so dramatic. Apple green, and this is a glass piece measuring 15 by 12, and I think this, if you had the right place in your home or you wanted a gift that was particularly special, this would be good. So we're going to talk about all of those pieces, and joining us is our art expert, Ed Goldman, who has been creating art for more than 30 years and is a regular columnist for the Sacramento Business Journal. Welcome, Ed. And also an author. You have a new book.
Yes, I do. Thank you for mentioning it. It's called But I Digress, and it's a collection of about 140 of my columns for the Business Journal, and they're easy reading, and I hope they're available at the Avid Reader, Barnes & Noble, Face in a Book, and online from Amazon.com.
Great. Well, we had a great time last year. Ed had some phenomenal paintings, and the phones rang, and we want you to make the phones ring. 1-800 1-800-270-6601. We want you to bid on this art because it's spectacular, a great addition to your home or business, or a gift, a present. Sometimes a wedding present is just what you need in art. Let's start out with this particular piece, which has, as I said when we started out, a little bit of a mysterious look about it.
Oh, it sure does. It's a wonderful piece. This is by Corey Okada. He's been painting for 25 years professionally. Wonderful artist. Studied art at American River College. This is mixed media on paper. It's called Crawling the Earth. And Corey was asked what were his inspirations, and he said, mushrooms. And I think we can kind of see the influence of mushrooms in there. I'm going to reach in here so everybody can see why I didn't become a hand model, but also to show you the texture he's created here with a variety of media. It looks like he's got maybe even colored pencil, maybe some pastel in there. I could be all wrong, and he could be tearing his hair out right now, but it's a wonderful piece. Actually would go really, really well in anybody's home or office. I like it very much.
And the retail on this, as you see, our bid, $140. We want you to pick up the phone, make those calls. This has a look about it. This reminds me a bit of those early Dutch paintings. It had this kind of texture to it.
Yeah, well, a little bit. Vermeer, if you're talking about Vermeer, or the Dutch masters. I don't see any guys with cigars in it, but other than that, it's,
or the big hats.
Or the big hats, which they're just out now. No, I think you're very right. It's the light in it is really mysterious. It's kind of at play. It's partly in shadow, which art is always more interesting, just like cinematography, photography, when you mix shadows in with everything instead of just throwing a lot of light on something. And it does look like these mushrooms are crawling to you. So, and I've just been handed an official stick. So it does look like these are crawling to you. And I like it a lot. And as you look at it really closely, you can see how many colors are really in here. There's black, there's it looks like a wine-colored red, there's a yellow, there's a green. It's all mixed in.
And then, of course, it's set off from the background. It's set off, the piece itself is set off in front of this wonderful color in the background. But I like the shading in the areas here, going from the light at the bottom to the dark at the top with, as you said, some interesting colors and textures in the middle.
I think you're right. The one thing I'd also point out is this is beautifully framed because the painting kind of pops out to you, so it gives it a three-dimensional quality.
Yes, indeed. So this is 1-800-270-6601 is the number we want you to call. We have wonderful works of art, and we are here at the KVIE Art Auction. And remember, the money that you bid for these pieces not only brings a wonderful piece of art to your home, but it also benefits public television, which is what we're here about year after year, and making that opportunity for you to have some wonderful art in your home. We're going to move on to the next piece. You can pick up the phone and call on this one, 1-800-270-6601. Do not delay, because remember, as we've talked about before, and as Rob Stewart was telling you in the last hour, and if you've been watching for a little bit, waiting for the perfect piece for you, well, you know, when they're gone, they're gone. So you want to make sure that you pick up the phone, make a bid, get that call in, and say, hey, I want that piece for my home. Now, this particular piece is really something special. Not only is it colorful, it's also large. And I think that this, as we've talked about last year when you and I were here, some pieces would just be perfect in a business office setting. There's something that sets the tone for what they have either in the waiting area or in somebody's office. Tell me about this one.
Well, this is by Lita Ramos, and if the name Ramos is familiar, she's the wife of Mel Ramos, who's an internationally known artist, wonderful artist. This piece is called La Fresneda with Blue Light, and I'm told that La Fresneda is it's a Spanish, inspired by a place in Spain. Lita graduated from McClatchy High School, from San Jose State, which is renowned for its art program, and from San Francisco State. This piece, as you mentioned, Jim, it's not small. It's 41.5 inches by 23.25 inches. It's pastel, and it was drawn plein air, meaning outside. Oh, I'm sorry, at the artist's second home in Spain. So it is definitely a Spanish influence. This would go well anywhere in somebody's home. It's just it's got soft colors. It's muted. But it's very, very dynamic. If you'll see the composition on it down in the corner, and as it pulls, kind of jumps out at you. I like it very much.
Very striking indeed. We're going to go over to the phone bank with Dee. She's got something there, but in the meantime, make that call. Dee?
I've got 15A here, Corey Okada's beautiful Crawling the Earth, the depiction of these mushrooms. This piece hung at the archival gallery, so it has been exhibited. Corey gave us one of his best pieces this year. I only have a bid of 140. We need to get that bid up over $400. When the artist gives us a piece, they're giving it to us outright. When they give us a piece that's been in a gallery, that means he could have sold this piece. He chose to give this piece to us, so we would get $400 for it. So what I need you to do right now is to pick up that phone and call. You need this piece in your kitchen. You need this piece in your restaurant. That's going to be my bell ringing call right there. So we're going to go back to that wonderful Lita Ramos piece and Jim Finnerty.
All right, thank you, Dee. 1-800-270-6601 is our number. $800 is the retail price on this. We don't have a bid on this yet, but we want you to pick up the phone and make that call. Tell me a little bit about the kind of medium this is, how this was made.
Pastels are actually very difficult to work in. People think they're easy because you simply smear it, you can correct it. But like watercolor, it's actually a fairly unforgiving medium. Once you do it, you're kind of stuck with it. This was drawn plein air, as I mentioned, outdoors at the artist's home.
On location, as it were.
On location, right. It's a good way to put it. And that's actually, as an artist, it's how you feel when you're doing it. You feel the elements, you feel nature, and it's just like, it's very special. You feel much more in touch with what you're doing. I think this, what a lot of people don't realize about pastel is that it has the opportunity for a number of colors within it, and that's what you see here. And I just love Lita's composition, I really do. This triangular bolt of a color here, what are probably shrubs, what probably were trees, were inspiring her, but it's just very, very dynamic composition.
It's a striking piece, and it would be a striking piece in your home. 1-800-270-6601, and that's a piece that I think would be a dramatic addition to someone's office or someone's waiting room, and I think if you had an office and you came in and you saw that, this would say something about what you meant to your clients and your customers and that. This is a piece I love, and while it's on TV, there is a richness and a depth to this piece that I hope is being conveyed through the camera. This is a delightful piece, and I want Ed to talk about this because, just like the other one, it's very striking.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is called Pearl Essence, and it's by Irene Hensley, and it's oil on canvas. And the one thing I want to point out that people might not be able to see on the screen, well, in HD you probably can, I actually looked at this and I thought somebody had spilled something on it when I first came into the studio today. And it's actually just beautifully rendered droplets of water. It really does look like a flower opening up in the spring. Irene is she's worked 5 years with a local teacher. She's been a professional artist for 15 years. The piece itself is 17 inches by 19.5 inches. Again, it's oil on canvas. And Irene was inspired by her own garden, which I find charming.
Oh, very nice.
She grows pink roses, and who'd have thought it?
1-800-270-6601. We want those calls from you. We want you to have the opportunity to pick up some wonderful art for your home or your office or a gift for someone. The retail value on this, $350. We'd love to have your bid because, as we said, some of these pieces are so striking that when you had that addition to your home, you as is with all art that really touches you, you say, how did I not have this here before?
Right.
I think that's the key, is that when you get it into your home and you realize, wow, what a special piece this is, and you took the step to make that special piece come into your home, benefited public television at the same time, but you have to make it happen. 1-800-270-6601. The rich sort of pink salmon color of this is what struck me first when I saw it.
Well, another thing that I want to point out about this is that working in oil, as Irene Hensley did, it has actually a flat quality to the the painting itself, and usually oil comes out very, very chunky, and that's one of the things we like about it is the texture. This actually has a different feel to it. The shadowing is wonderful, the placement of it in the picture, the composition, but it also has it doesn't jump out at you, which is it's a statement, a quieter statement for your home or office.
I think it pulls you in. I think it draws you in, and as you can see from the light we have here, and as you mentioned, HD cameras, we have some great detail here. It just pulls you in and makes sure that you enjoy the picture. All right, we're going to go over to the phone bank for just a moment, and we'll be back with more right after this.
Well, thanks, Jim. I'm over in the phone bank with this gorgeous Lita Ramos pastel. Now, when I saw this, the very first thing I thought of was it's a great PBS moment. Do you know why? It's very Seussian, isn't it? You can see this appearing in a Dr. Seuss as one of those wonderful, gorgeous, and I'm going to use the word whimsical trees that he created. And Lita Ramos has really evoked a lot of those same emotions, at least in me. I love pastels myself. It's such a soft texture, but the colors are so gorgeous and vibrant. I could imagine this piece in a child's room or a grandchild's room. We've talked about this before. If you have a special child in your life and you want to introduce art to them at an early age, what a great piece for them to wake up to every morning and build an appreciation for everything that the visual arts can do. Right now we have a bid of $375 on this piece. Let's keep it going. 1-800-270-6601 is the number to call. Now we're going to head back over to Jim Finnerty.
And Ed Goldman, we're here, 1-800-270-6601. We are at the KVIE Art Auction. If you've just dialed around and you said, what are these people doing? We have great art for you to bid on, benefiting KVIE, and I think most importantly, benefiting you because you're going to pick up some great art for your home or for someone else. This piece jumps out at you.
Oh, yeah.
This is called Stay, and for those of you who like your art dramatic, this would do the trick.
I love this. I really do, Jim. This is by Emily Elders. It's called Stay. It is a relief print, and it was done, it's a traditional linoleum print, and what that means is that every single color is carved into the block separately. So what you're looking at is what looks like perhaps a fairly simple rendering is actually very complex to put together.
Time.
Oh yeah. It's currently on view actually at Archival Gallery, I should mention. And there are only 5 of this print that have been made, and the significance of that is the same as when you say, when you buy a sculpture and they say, well, they really threw away the mold when they did that. Well, that's how a sculpture that many copies have been made of gets to be worth a lot. And in this, there are only 5 prints that were made from this block. So I guess you could say they really threw away the block when she did this. I like it a lot, and I do think it would be great in anybody's home or office.
It's a unique piece. We have a bid of $125, a retail price of $250. We want you, if you're saying this would be something, and I think a lot of people would say this would be something that I could have in my home, 1-800-270-6601. It is just a great piece. The colors are dramatic. The framing is exceptional. And there's a, as you see, there's even texture on the framing, which I think it adds to the texture, horizontal texture on the framing, which goes against the vertical texture in the piece.
That's very good, John. That's terrific. I think you're absolutely right. And again, with HDTV, perhaps you can see all those. I should point out, too, that Emily Elders was one of the featured artists at Chalk It Up Sacramento this year, and she's wonderful. And she's won an award in this category, I believe, for the art auction before. So you'd really be getting a piece of a very strong up-and-coming artist.
And it's great. It's great that you have that here. Let's have you pick up the phone. 1-800-270-6601 is the number to call. A piece of art for your home, the KVIE Art Auction. And we are here. I'm here, Jim Finnerty, with Ed Goldman, and columnist for the Sacramento Business Journal, author as well, if I may digress, his new book.
But I digress.
Oh, but I digress.
But
okay.
I enjoyed you digressing. I thought you did it better,
we won't digress here. Yeah. He's going to get it in. This is an interesting piece we're going to talk about in just a moment, but we're going to go over to the phone bank right now because we have something there to see that's special.
Oh, hi. I'm over here singing.
Oh, that's cold water. Great, thank you. All right, thank you, Dee. This is a piece, and I think the name says it. It's called David Brubeck.
I wonder how they came up with that name.
know.
Actually,
That's
this is a
interesting, isn't it?
wonderful photograph. This is by Michael Solomon. Michael is the owner of the Solomon Dubnik Gallery, and he's the son of Russ Solomon, who has been a juror in the past for photography and for other artwork here. It is a black and white photo. And one of the nice things about it, it's part of a series from a book, by the way, I should point out, Let's Go See Some Jazz, which are photos from the Monterey Jazz Festival. And it was shot with film and printed on archival paper, and it's been framed in a shadow box to include, and this is really significant, the piano key. This is one of Dave Brubeck's signed piano keys. If you've ever opened up a piano and looked at the keys, they are this long.
Down at the bottom here.
The late Dave Brubeck actually signed it. He was just a wonderful musician, wonderful humanitarian. That's a wonderful piece.
All right, we have a bell ringer over in the phone bank. We're always glad to have those. $375 is the bid on this one, a retail value of $800. And what struck me when we were first looking at this piece was not only the lighting and a fantastic photograph, but there's emotion here. There's a great deal of emotion and depth to this.
Well, Brubeck himself had that, and I think that's what's really interesting about the piece and what Michael managed to capture. I say Michael because I know him, but David Brubeck was a very complex man. He broke a lot of color barriers in music, broke a lot of old traditions, and I think the piece really does him justice.
And this is striking. There's something about a photograph, if you have in your home a photograph in a spot that just dramatically sets that spot apart. And especially if you looked at this with the piano key at the bottom, you could say there's kind of a historical corner to what's going on. And if you were, of course, a musician or somebody who just appreciated great music or great jazz, this would be something you'd want to have simply because it just echoed your interests.
We are in violent agreement on that, Jim. It's a wonderful piece. And I actually have one of these piano keys myself, by the way, and it's just a wonderful keepsake to have. I was going to interview Dave Brubeck on his last tour in Sacramento, and I got ill, and then he passed away. So anyway, it's wonderful. If I were out in the audience, I'd be bidding on it.
$375 is the bid on this right now. 1-800-270-6601. We're over to Dee in the phone bank right now for an update there. Dee?
Okay. I now have a microphone that works. That was not my fault. I wanted to talk a little bit about Pearl Essence. This beautiful rose is a bell ringer. But that doesn't mean we're closing it out yet. You can bid $450 and never have to buy your wife flowers again. I have the beautiful Shay here. She is a member of our art volunteer crew. She has been doing this for how long?
30 years.
30 years, and she's still here. So let's make this a bell ringer for Shay. Behind me here, I have one of our newer volunteers. You've been, what, 5 years? 4? 4 years? Seems like 5. We have this beautiful print by Emily Elders. It's a relief print, which means each one of these colors was carved in and had the paper laid over it. So it's a very complicated process. It's also a very traditional printmaking process. She's showing right now in my gallery. The piece has a value of $250. We have a bell ringer. So thank you very much for those bell ringers. Let's keep this up, and we're going to go back out to Jim and my buddy Ed.
Oh, we love those bell ringers, and we love it because we brought you some great art, and we want you to have some great art, or we want you to pick up the phone and say, this would be a great gift for someone. 1-800-270-6601 is the number. Let's move on to this piece, because when we started this half hour, we were looking across the studio, and this just popped, absolutely popped, and not only the color but the design itself.
Well, it's a wonderful piece. It's by J.C. Strote, S-T-R-O-T-E, Strote, J.C. Strote, and it's called Apple Green, and you can see that that's a pretty damn good title for it. It's a glass piece. It was created in a kiln, and I'm mispronouncing it. It's usually pronounced Kiel, and I should point out that J.C. Strote has 6 keel, ranging in size from a 6-inch jewelry one to a large 42-inch one.
And I'm turning as you talk because I want everybody to see the different front and back elements of this piece.
Oh, good. I thought I was on the Home Shopping Network. I got so mixed up. She has JC has divided her barn studio into 2 distinct areas: the glass studio and the clay studio, where she works with Suzanne Rollins to create hand-built clay items. So this is actually fused glass. It's 20 inches by 14 inches by 4 inches. It's a modern design in apple green hues, as you can see, and the stand was forged to allow light to pass through it. So it can actually be viewed from both sides, which is really pretty amazing. That's why Jim's been turning it, and I thought he was turning a tiara.
Well, I noticed something as I turned it. Look at the reflection in the center diamonds, in the diamond square. The center diamond square there. Look at how it just shines at different times, and it's phenomenal. If you had the right light in your home against a window or just in your home,
it would change.
It would change all the time. It would be a sort of an ongoing developing art piece.
That's right. It's very exciting and dynamic piece.
It is wonderful. We're going to go back over to the phone bank right now. 1-800-270-6601. Dee is there with that wonderful photograph of Dave Brubeck.
Thank you. I love this Dave Brubeck piece. I framed this with my own little hands. So, and I picked it to frame because I was really excited about the fact that we had the piano key that was signed by him and this beautiful photo that was taken by Michael Solomon at the Jazz Festival. What a great piece to put over your piano if you have a jazz lover in your family. Tuck it away for Christmas. It's a one-of-a-kind item. Not only do you get a piece of artwork, you also get a collector's item with it. Right now, I only have a bid of $425. We have a retail of $800. Yep, I need to clean my glasses. We have a retail of $800. We had 2 bell ringers in a row, so let's bring this up to a bell ringer as well. I've got a gal over here waiting on the phone to bid on that piece. So we're up to $425 for this beautiful photograph of David Brubeck, signed by the artist Michael Solomon, and it does come with the piano key, which was signed by Mr. Brubeck himself. So it's your chance to own an important piece of memorabilia at the same time. So call us up, bid high, bid often, and now we're going to go back to my buddy Jim.
All right, 1-800-270-6601. It's your chance to have a piece of history. It's your chance to have a piece of sort of a musical moment. If you enjoy music, if you enjoy jazz, you want to have that signed piano key of Dave Brubeck. And of course, the picture itself is phenomenal because it has a depth and a mystery to it that I don't think you see. And it's a large piece. It's striking in the sense that you would see this in your home or in your office if you had a musical setting. I could see that. In your home or in your office, and you would say, this is a moment. This is just an absolute moment.
One thing I would add is that because it's black and white, it will go on any wall, any colored wall. Yeah. If you have an accent wall, if you have a white wall, it'll just really pop out.
1-800-270-6601. We're looking at this beautiful piece as well. And we need a caller on this one. We'd love to have you call because this, as we said, with the apple green, and I'm going to turn it again, just like home shopping. I love this. I love the depth. I love the texture of this. And the colors are just striking. 1-800-270-6601. We need a caller on this one because this, I think, is one of those things. We have a bid now of $60. This is one of those things that I think you'd be unhappy that you missed it if you saw that this would work for you. So do make that call right now and look at the color palette here. It's just wonderful.
I wanted to point out that it's Kermit's favorite color.
I could see that. It's not easy being green.
I love it. It's not easy being green, but it's easy buying green.
Oh, indeed so. And this is a perfect match, Dave. This is wonderful. Thank you for bringing Kermit
so if
by.
you have a life-size Kermit the Frog in your home, you must have this piece. Actually, this is just great. It really, I wish you could see it up close and see how the colors change in it and how the light plays on it.
We have a $75 bid right now. We'd love to have more bids from you on all of the artwork that you're seeing today. It all benefits public television, and it benefits you because you're going to get an opportunity to have some great art in your home. And let me remind you, confirmed bidders can pick up their purchases at the KVIE studio today, or Sunday, or Monday, and Tuesday from noon to 5 p.m. And we want to say to all of our bidders, thank you. Stay with us because coming up, Ed and I will have more original art for you to bid on and buy at the KVIE Art Auction. So stick with us, make those calls, get some great art.
Wells Fargo Bank is proud to support local arts in our region through the KVIE Art Auction. Wells Fargo Bank, a proud supporter of KVIE Public Television.
Stay tuned for the figurative category coming up next on the KVIE Art Auction. Juried by Kim Scott, this category features a celebration of the human form and representations of animals. View all of the categories featured in this year's art auction at kvie.org/art auction. Bid high and bid often.
We are having a great time here at the KVIE Art Auction. Thank you for joining us. It's an opportunity for you to get some great art, and we want to thank Wells Fargo Bank for sponsoring this portion of the KVIE Art Auction. Let's take a quick look at the art that's coming up next, and we have some wonderful pieces to share with you. I'm Jim Finnerty here with Ed Goldman, and we're going to go through what we have to do that, but let's take a look at the rundown on some of the pieces we have coming up. First of all, this piece is called Squid Man, a sculpture. Let me give you the size on this because it's quite sizable, 23 by 17 by 5, and has a retail value of $550. Untitled Figures, this is a pastel measuring 28 by 36 to give you an idea on size. Ooh, another bell ringer over there. We'll talk about that in just a moment. This is a wonderful piece. This has a retail price of $2,000. We have a $100 bid on it right now. We need to get started on that. Then this one is called Gold John Lennon. This is oil on canvas, 22 by 24, and this has a retail price of $500, I'm sorry, on that. Then we have Sunset Steps, a retail price of $300, and this is acrylic on paper, so we can give you a little detail on that. 20 by 16 is the time. And then this one, which is a lot of fun, this is called Chew and Choke, and this is acrylic on canvas, 24 by 17, $650 is the retail on that one, and that is a fun piece. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but you're at the KVIE Art Auction. I'm Jim Finnerty, along with Ed Goldman, who is a columnist for the Sacramento Business Journal, author as well, and a man who's been involved in art for more than 3 decades now, and knows a good deal about 4 decades.
More than four.
More than 4 decades, and knows a good deal about art and art in our community. So let's start right now, because we have this interesting piece, unlike anything I've ever seen before at the art auction. Tell us about Squid Man.
Squid Man is by Jack Ogden. Jack Ogden is his artwork is synonymous with Sacramento in many, many ways, Jim. He had got his BA in 1960 and his MA in 1962 from Cal State, Sacramento State as it calls itself now, where he also taught for a number of years. This is an older piece that was actually donated to KVIE by a KVIE patron. And it's a wonderful example of Jack's figurative style. It's oil pastel on paper, and it's been framed in museum glass. It's in the permanent Jack Ogden's work is in the permanent collections of the Crocker, the Oakland Museum of California, the Butler Museum, the New Britain Museum. And I must tell you in all candor, we had a gala here the other night, and we were taking opening bids, and I put in a bid on it. So outbid me, folks.
So this is a wonderful piece, Squid Man. I love the name, first of all.
Yeah.
I mean, the Squid Man thing. And this is, the material on this is, the sculpture is, has all of these small pieces, squids, hooks, fish of a different type, or one thing or another. And so we're looking for you to make a bid on this particular piece, because I love the colors first and foremost, and I think that this would be a fun piece to have. $550 is the retail, and Tell me a little bit about the detail itself.
Well, I think this is very similar to what the late David Gilhooly was doing really after Jack, where he created three-dimensional little objects and sometimes would use objects that also existed elsewhere. But you can see that he's got this, looks like a shark. He's got the squids, got all kinds of little sea life on it, and it's the colors are really, really, really wonderful.
All right, we're going to come back to this in just a minute. 1-800-270-6601. We need a bid on this, but right now let's go over to the phone bank and check in there.
Okay, we have already got a bell ringer on the David Brubeck. Now I have Jack's gavel in my hand, which means we have a real auction going. It has a retail of $800. It has a retail of priceless. It is a piece of art combined with a piece of important memorabilia. I have a bid of $1,100. I'm going to close it out right now. I've got 3 bidders. Do I have $1,150? $1,150? $1,100 going once? $1,100 going twice? I got 12. Do I have $1,250? I've got 12. I've got 12 going once at 12. I got $1,250. I've got $1,250. Okay, now I want to go up. I need $1,350. I need $1,350 going once at $1,250. Going twice at $1,250. Wait, I'm going twice at $1,250. Okay. Okay. Okay, I got to go at $1,250. No, I've got $1,350. Okay, I've got $1,350. I've got $1,350. I need $1,450. I'm going to take this off the air and we'll let you know how it turns out. Let's go back to Jim.
All right, thank you, Dee. That is fantastic, and I think indicative of the kind of work that you're getting today and the interest that people have in not only great photography and a great historic piece and a great musical piece, but we want you to find the piece that works for you and your home and your business or as a gift. And Squidman, we've got a bid, $165, but we want much more because this is a fun piece, Ed.
And let me just say that HD TV is helping me show you how red my face is because I mixed up my notes, apparently. This is actually by Fred Gordon, not by Jack Ogden. Jack is coming up. It's a wonderful, wonderful piece. Everything I said about the technique is absolutely true, but not about Fred.
All right, but it is a wonderful piece, and while we're talking about Jack Ogden, let's move into that area. We have a $1,000 bid on this one. This is called Untitled Figures, retail of $2,000, and this piece, first of all, let's talk about, I think it's dramatic not only because beautiful colors, this is a large piece. And this is one of those things that, you in your home would be a striking addition simply by virtue of size in addition to the beautiful expressions and painting.
I agree with you, and I must tell you that this is the piece I bid on at the gala the other night. I think it's just a wonderful, wonderful piece.
We love to have you bid on more.
Because if I knew what I was bidding on. It's untitled, but it's a piece by Jack Ogden. Everything I said about Jack before obtains. He got his BA in 1960, an MA in 1962 from Sacramento State.
More bell ringers. I just don't want to interrupt. More bell ringers over there, which means great. So thank you for calling. 1-800-270-6601. If you see it, make that call. Don't let it get away from you. But let's talk about this.
Sure. This is, in fact, the older piece that was donated by a KVIE patron. It's a fine example of Jack's figurative style. It's oil pastel on paper. It's been framed in museum glass. It's, for anybody who's interested in the California funk movement, please note my pronunciation, this was kind of preceded it. A lot of people came out of UC Davis and even Sacramento State after Jack, and it's a wonderful entree into a figurative era.
We have $10.50 on the board right now on a bid. Let's get that up to $1,100, $1,150. Let's make that sure that you're going to get a chance to bid on this. $2,000 retail, but don't let it get away from you. 1-800-270-6601. You've heard all those bell ringers here, which means that people are calling in and they are finding the opportunity to grab great pieces of artwork. We don't want it to get away from you. So make that call, make the bid right now. We're up to $10.50. Make a bid from that, and remember, you're benefiting public television as well as getting a great piece of artwork for your home, office, or a gift. Tell me about the colors on it, because they're rather subdued.
They are subdued. It's a very good point. But they are multitudinous. There are so many colors in this piece, as is always possible with oil pastel. The smearing, the ability to just play with the colors, and you can see that there are many designs going on in the piece as well. The background has texture to it, visual texture, not touch texture. And again, it is behind museum glass, which is the best glass. So
all right.
It's really nice.
$10.50 is what we have right now. Let's make that bid go up. $1,050. Let's get an $1,100 bid. 1-800-270-6601. Dee's in the phone bank. Let's pop over to her. Dee?
I am so excited about all these bell ringers. What we're looking for right now is item number 16A by Fred Gordon, who is one of my dearest friends and a great fly fisherman. Squidman is now sitting at $500. I only need $50 more to make that into a bell ring. Let's get these phones ringing. I've got all these volunteers waiting to take your phone calls. We are so close. Don't forget, just call. It's easy to bid. We'll register you like that, and you can be by tomorrow and pick up your artwork. So start your collection tonight. Call 1-800-270-6601. Let's go back to my buddy Ed.
All right, Ed Goldman here with Jim Finnerty. 1-800-270-6601. As Dee said, we are bringing you some wonderful and varied pieces in this hour, and we have much more to come. Jason Schultz will be with you in just a little bit, and we want you to make the call. Let's talk a little bit about this one. This is a very delicate piece with some rich texture, not physical texture, but rich textured color.
I think you're right. This is called Golden Prince. It's by Dawn Star Wood, and it's watercolor. And I mentioned with one of the earlier pieces in the last segment, Jim, that watercolor is the most unforgiving medium. Television might be as well, but but it's very difficult. If you make a mistake in watercolor, it's very difficult to eradicate it. So you've really got to know what you're doing. The fine watercolorists, as Dawn Star Wood clearly is, knows how to blend these colors, and so you get richness of color and shade that most people think you only get with oil. So you can see it's very detailed, a lot of little flowers and leaves and coming around, and our little golden prince here, which I'm sure was an affectionate name for the piece. He does look like a bird. Birds do have a sort of royal look to them.
I am amazed. I am amazed when you talk about this being watercolor, because look at each individual portion of this painting. There are lines, there are textures and color gradations within those lines. And as you say, when I think of watercolor, I think of something a little broader, and you're kind of putting on in a sweep. Not here. You're doing some very fine, detailed work.
Oh, I think so too. And watercolor, I am a painter as well, and not as well as this. And watercolor is one medium I absolutely shy away from ever since I was a kid. And I think she did just a fine job on this. She says that the Chinese influence led to the depiction of this, and this is a golden pheasant.
I can see that. Our
little prince there. It's watercolors and gold paint on paper. And this was the 2012 KVIE, not this piece. She was the 2012 Art Auction's Juror's Choice for painting. So it's a wonderful piece.
All right, we're going to go back over to the phone bank right now because excitement is going on there.
Okay, that's a bell ringer for number 16C. We're at $225. Yeah, one of the things I love to hear, and I was eavesdropping on one of our volunteers over here, are when people buy their first piece of art here from the KVIE Art Auction. What's really nice is to start your collection here, add a little bit to it every single year. 16B, Untitled Figures by one of our California masters, Jack Ogden, is at $1,100. Going once at $1,100, going twice at $1,100. Right here, $1,100. It's closed. So let's go back out there. Keep these phones ringing. Let's go back to my friend Jim.
Those bells ringing, we love those bells ringing. We're up to $250 on this particular piece, the Golden Prince, and that's $275 right now. But I think this would be a great addition to someone's home. And as Dee said, I think this is a great way to start your collection. If you're not into, if you've not started collecting art already, there are some wonderful bargains here. Thank you for those artists who've contributed to the KVIE Art Auction. But there's some wonderful pieces of art, and it's a great way for you to begin your initial interest because they're great values and they're great pieces.
I think that's a really good point, Jim. I began my own art collecting probably when I was 20, and it started with buying small pieces like this when I can afford it. And honestly, you turn around one day and you realize, gee, I've got a lot of original art, and it takes nothing away from prints and all that, but these are just fabulous.
Golden Prince is the name of this one. There are people bidding on this, but you don't want to let this one get away from you. So pick up the phone, make that call, 1-800-270-6601, and make sure that that piece, if you love that piece, and I think that this would be wonderful for someone who says, I mean, it's a delicate, lovely piece. All right, we're going to go to John Lennon, and this is a very striking piece. John Lennon, called John Lennon, of course. Retail price of $500. We have a bid of $175, but it's a delightful piece, and it's slightly haunting from where we stand here.
I agree with you. It's this is by Weaver Glenn. I'm sorry, and it's oil on canvas, and it actually looks like it's a black and white photo.
It does,
but it's a beautiful depiction, and any of you who, like me, was a fan of John Lennon would find this actually very touching. It captures his intelligence. It seems to capture his wryness and his kind of jaundiced view of life. It's a very handsome piece, and again, thinking just in practical terms of your home, it would fit on just about any kind of wall in any kind of environment because it's somewhat monochromatic, and that's and all the more striking as a result.
And just as we had with the Dave Brubeck piece just a little bit ago, the photograph, if you are a musician, a piece like this takes on a bit of a special significance for your home. It is something that would sort of reinforce your viewers who come into your home, your interest in music, and of course the Beatles are the Beatles, and John Lennon was, of course, one of the most important musicians of many decades. So this was great.
And a public figure, too.
Yes.
I think it's interesting. I'd like to just show you something from the artist's statement. His works are interested in the struggle of worth based on tangible accomplishments versus worth based on being a good person. And that's a beautiful statement. Usually artist statements are difficult to render, but I thought that was nice. It's very idealistic. It's acrylic on canvas, and the use of black and white highlights the artist's realistic painting style.
All right, $175 is our bid right now. Retail price on this one, as we mentioned just a moment ago, $500. We want you to make the bid. 1-800-270-6601, a special piece for your home. If you're a musician, if you know a musician, I think this would be a great gift for them as well. So don't hesitate, pick up the phone, make that call. We're going back over to the phone bank right now, and Dee is there with, oh, look what she's holding.
Hi, we're here in the phone bank and we're waiting for some phones to start ringing again, and Dee's going to tell us about the Golden Prince.
We've got the Golden Princess at $375, which is a bell ringer. But that doesn't mean that we've closed out the bidding for this beautiful, beautiful, elegant piece. If you're a bird lover like I am, it's such a nice size piece. You can fit it anywhere in your house. There it is. And we've still got the bidding open at $375. It's a bell ringer. That doesn't mean you can't add to that bid, though. When this artist gave it to us, they were excited about us having it, and we're excited to get it into your home. So let's go back out and see what's up with John Lennon.
All right, John Lennon, we have a bid of $175 right now. We want to bring that price up because this is a great piece. If you had a restaurant, I think this would be a great place to have. If you had perhaps a cocktail lounge and music played a role in what you're offering to your customers,
or
would be
a music room in your own home,
or a music room in your own home, this would be something. It's dramatic. It draws you in. I mean, it's as I said at the beginning, there's an almost haunting look to this, but the rich texture of this particular piece gives it an emotion and a feel when you're standing next to it, which you can see some of that on TV, but when you see it in person, it's dramatically improved. approved.
I wanted to point out one thing about this too that the artist caught in the painting. Lennon seems to be looking off slightly, and that's what he used to do when he acted in like A Hard Day's Night and Help. He always looked like he had some little private joke going on. He'd be kind of like looking off. So it's a wonderful rendering.
All right, we have a bid of $250 now. We can make that one go higher if you will pick up the phone and make the call. 1-800-270-6601, 1-800-270-6601, and don't dawdle. 110 right now. Pick up the phone and make that call because we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to get on this. Now, this is one we saw from across the studio, and I saw this when we started out in this half hour. This is called Sunset Steps. This is rich, it's detailed, it has a glow about this that I think we haven't seen in some of the other pieces.
I agree with you. This is by the artist Varya McMillan, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name right because I've seen her work before. She holds an MFA from Sophia's Art Academy, and she's been a professional artist for 35 years. What you're looking at is acrylic on watercolor paper, and the watercolor paper kind of absorbs the acrylic and bounces it back out at you, and you can see the choice of colors is very, very rich, very, very detailed, and very, very complex. This is not just somebody who sat down and slapped some things together. It's a very, very, and I do want to mention, as I've been mentioning today, the composition of the piece, meaning where she places her figures, is really dynamic. It makes it so that you can't look at anything else when you see this piece in your home.
$375 is the bid right now. People are bidding on this, so if you like this, please don't hesitate. 1-800-270-6601. You know, you pointed out the variety of colors, these splashes. It's almost even like a little Monet in the sense of little bits of color here, little bits of color there, flowers in that particular case, but here they just striking as they jump out from the clothing.
Yeah, and what is nice about it is that it has energy, and I know it's a cliche about art, but it looks like the women are moving. And
it does.
Varya McMillan has said in her artist statements that she likes looking at women's figures and the female form in a spiritual way.
And look at the colors in the baskets too. Overall, this has a glow to it, which I saw when we, as I said, across the studio. But it has a glow to it, which I think for somebody who wants a special moment or a place in their home, this would be a great addition to that.
And I would just add that what the artist says her goal is for people to see the transcendent in the commonplace. And that's certainly what's happening here. They're just two women walking, but it transcends an awful lot of stuff. There's a real spiritual quality to this, and I think you would find yourself looking at it many times a day.
Oh, I think so too. You'd be drawn to it the minute you entered the room in which this was hanging on the wall. $500 is the bid right now. That is the great, and obviously people are responding to this wonderful, wonderful piece of work. But don't hesitate. 1-800-270-6601. We want to make sure that you have the opportunity to bid, to make sure you have the opportunity to acquire a piece of work, a beautiful piece of work like this that you see. So $500 is the bid. We can make that higher because, remember, it's all benefiting public television. Let's go over to Tessa in the phone bank.
We're here in the phone bank with the iconic John Lennon and my friend Elizabeth, and we're here and we've got a current bid of $650 on this piece, but let's keep going. So it is a bell ringer right now, but we can go higher. So call now, don't miss out. Elizabeth, why should people call in right now to support the auction?
Well, KVIE is all about art, and what better displays art than John Lennon and music and art? So that's why. Do it. It's beautiful. Look at the tones, the colors, and how cool the colors are.
So thank you. Thank you for supporting KVIE, and we're going to go back to Jim.
All right. We have bell ringers going, and that is great. Thanks to you. Thanks to you for picking up the phone and making that calls because you're seeing what you like here, and you're seeing that this could be great for your home. So John Lennon, $725 is the bid right now. Now, we're coming to a piece that I just love this thing.
So do I.
The color. And the last time we were here, we had green. Here we are. We're back to green again. This is a Kermit moment in a Kermit corner kind of thing. This piece right now. Tell us about this one because this is just fun.
Jim, this is called Chew and Choke, and it's by John Stewart Berger. It's acrylic on canvas. It's a beautiful piece. It's whimsical. It's bright. It has a personality to it.
It does have personality.
And I should tell you that it's a dreamlike figurative work. The artist put those words in my mouth, but it's absolutely correct. It is its dreamlike quality. You appear to be underwater when you're looking at it, and it's just fine. John Stuart Berger studied under Bill Allen and John Dreisbach, and he has a BA from Sac State, and he currently works, and this is what I'm so pleased to announce, he currently works at the Short Center as an instructor. And for those of you who aren't aware of it, the Short Center is for people who are developmentally or otherwise challenged. And I actually have bought a lot of the art from that center. And the fact that John is an instructor there is, I think, very inspiring.
Chew and Choke. We have a $250 bid on it right now. This is a delightful piece. It's a fun piece, and I'll tell you, for somebody, I know somebody's looking for this piece. I mean, they've been waiting. There's somebody out there who's been waiting for just this piece to add to their home or their office, and I'd love to have this in my office.
Actually, I'll tell you, anybody who's ever been to my home knows this would fit perfectly. And I may be grabbing a phone here in a minute. I do love it very much. And no hype. It's just terrific.
All right, we've got a bid of $250. We need to keep that bidding going. 1-800-270-6601 is the number. Don't let this go by. Chew and Choke are waiting to join you in your home. They are very colorful characters, and I think that this would be a fun piece to have. And I'll tell you, you're going to be the only person on your block to have this piece.
That's true. That's
the
true.
only person on your block, in your neighborhood, maybe in your entire town. 1-800-270-6601. We have a $250 bid. We want you to bid now because you're benefiting public television, but you're also, as we say, getting a great opportunity to share some wonderful moments in art of all kinds here on the KVIE Art Auction. So make that call right now. Benefit public television. 1-800-270-6601. We're going back over to the phone bank. Dee, that's you.
Okay, we had a bell ringer on the John Lennon piece. It's $900 on a $500 piece. I want to talk about this Chew and Choke. John Stuart Berger is a modern master here in Sacramento. He gives us a piece every year. He's an art instructor. He's one of those artists that other artists love to collect. Right now we've got a $500 bid on that, and what I need is $650. So I need $650 on Chew and Choke number 16F. Own a great piece of Sacramento art. I see Ed's all excited about it, so let's talk some more about it.
We will talk some more about it. We're love this piece out here.
Actually, I was trying to bid on it. I think it's like insider trading.
Ed's going to get off the air, and he's just going to go right to a phone and make the thing. $500 is what we have right now. We want somebody to walk away with this piece, but we want somebody to bid high on this piece. Retail $650. $500 is the bid right now. Come on, let's make that $550 right now. Let's go on up, because Chew and Choke would be a great addition to your home. It would be a great collection. It would be fun to have, and I'll tell you, as I said, this is a one-of-a-kind piece. $550 right now. Let's go up to $600 if you can. Pick up that phone, make that call. 1-800-270-6601. If you're just tuning in and you're saying, oh, wait a minute, what's that? I gotta have it. Don't hesitate. We can take that call right now. 1-800-270-6601. $550, $600 the bid right now. Don't wait. $600 is the bid right now. We can go higher than that. Somebody's going to make that $650. Yeah. Let's go over to that and make sure that you call. We're going to move on right now, but stay with us for more art to bid on and buy from on the KVIE Art Auction. I'm Jim Finnerty with Ed Goldman. Stay tuned.
Thank you.